Welcome back. You're watching The Money Show on ET now. Well, let's now introduce a very special guest on the show. And this is going to be to talk on health insurance. It's been a topic that, of course, everyone's been talking about, especially since we have been in the midst of this global COVID pandemic. It's something that has caused all of us to ensure that our health insurance policies are up to date. They have a good amount of sum assured. Everyone in our near and dear ones are covered. But I think as the pandemic is ebbing, slowly, the importance that people were placing on health insurance as well is ebbing. And I think that's not a very good thing. So to sort of remind all of our viewers about the importance of health insurance, I have with me Mr. Roopam Asthana, the CEO and whole-time director of Liberty General Insurance. Mr. Asthana, thank you so much for joining us today, on ET now. So like I mentioned, Mr. Asthana, I think one of the reasons why we've also called you is because I want you to sort of reiterate the importance of health insurance for our viewers, because I think we understand that it has slowly started decreasing the health insurance policy sales. So reiterate its importance for us, Mr. Asthana.
First of all, I'd like to wish all your viewers a very healthy and a safe 2021. The importance of health insurance, is something which cannot be underestimated. And I think the importance of that got accentuated at the time of the pandemic, when we saw people around us, our own family members, our friends, our neighbors, getting infected by COVID, going to hospital and incurring bills probably in excess of 1 lakh rupee per person. So clearly what we see there is that a simple pandemic could result in huge medical expenses. The other complication that we saw in this situation was the fact that there was just not one person in the family who got infected. Usually when there was a family member who got infected, some of the other family members also got infected. So just think about it, 2 or 3 people in a family get infected, go to the hospital, incur a bill of 1 lakh rupee each. And suddenly you have a huge medical expense sitting on your head. And this is the pandemic. So while we can say that this was a one-time occurrence and maybe it may or may not happen again, the fact is that there is some other medical complication that could actually hit you and impact you in the coming days. So it is absolutely essential that every person needs to have some form of medical insurance and medical coverage. Because of a couple of reasons. One, our lifestyle is such that the lifestyle disorders are increasing. The incidence of hospitalization is starting to go up. And the second thing is the fact that the cost of medical help and hospitalization is increasing year on year, month on month. So these are all the reasons why one should certainly go in for some form or the other of health insurance.
All right. So I hope this is sort of drilled into our viewers' minds as well on why it's so crucial to have health insurance. But I think along with having a health insurance policy, another very important factor to consider is deciding on a sum assured. You don't want to be underinsured, and at the same time, there's no point of shelling out all that extra premium by being having a higher sum assured. So what all are the factors that you recommend people should keep in mind when they are considering what should be the amount that they should buy the health insurance policy of?
Yeah, so I think sum insured is a very important thing, and there are quite a few factors that one should look at. So first of all is your age. Some people believe that if you're young, you may not get hospitalized. But actually, if you look at the data which has been provided by the Insurance Information Bureau, the maximum number of health claims have come in the age group of 26 to 35. So contrary to expectations, people now much younger are falling ill and getting hospitalized. So first of all, don't delay purchase of health insurance. In terms of sum insured, let's look at some very simple rule of thumb kind of figures, right? So if you were to get hospitalized, say for example, for a bypass today, it could cost you anything in the range of 3 to 5 lakhs. So that is probably the minimum that you should have as a health insurance cover. And my recommendation would be to go for a minimum health insurance cover of 5 lakhs. But if you can actually probably afford a little bit more, you should go in for a 10 lakh cover. Because what that will do is tomorrow when you have a family, you have a spouse, children, you can add them to that plan. actually a family photo plan for 10 lakh rupees. So my recommendation to young families would be to go in for a family floater plan for a minimum of 10 lakh rupees. The other reason why I'm recommending 10 lakh rupees is also because of the medical inflation. So let's talk about medical inflation. Again, information that is available through the Insurance Information Bureau tells us that from 2010 to 2019, the medical inflation was in the range of 10 to 11% per annum. Now, what does that actually mean? If you were to put it very simply, 100 rupees of cost today would become about 165 rupees of cost in 5 years' time. Right? So clearly what you have to do is purchase a health plan today, which should hopefully last you for a substantial period of time. What we have seen in the past is that many people have purchased health plans in the past with some insureds which now look, abysmally inadequate. And that is the reason why I am recommending a family floater plan of 10 lakhs as an entry point for a young couple in the age group of, say, 26 to 35.
Let's talk about disease-specific covers, because when we have seen disease-specific covers in the past. You have dengue cover, malaria cover, so on and so forth. But of course, when COVID came, we had a more affordable COVID cover, the Corona Rakshak and the Corona Kavach, which the government as well had introduced. It's a standardized cover. But do you recommend then that people should have disease-specific covers, Mr. Asthana?
What I'll do is I'll give you, a brief synopsis of the different types of health insurance plans that are available today and how they fit in, right? So one is the simple, plain, indemnity-based health insurance, what we popularly known as Mediclaim, right? That basically covers your hospitalization expenses in case you have a medical complication and need to get hospitalized. The second type which is available is called critical illness plan. Now, what is critical illness? It basically covers anything from 25 to 40 critical illnesses. And the difference here is that the moment you get diagnosed for one of those illnesses, there is a lump sum payout that happens to you. Now, how does this help you? Because what it does is it provides you money which can actually be used outside of hospitalization. The third type of plan, which I think everybody should consider, is what we call a top-up plan. Now, how does a top-up plan work? So let me give you an example. So if you have a basic health plan of, say, 10 lakh rupees, it gets exhausted if you have an illness which actually costs you more than that. A top-up plan then comes and activates on top of this plan. So if you take a top-up plan of 10 lakh rupees, with your basic plan of 10 lakh, your total coverage becomes 20 lakhs. Now, why is a top-up plus a basic plan of 10 lakhs each better than a simple plan of 20 lakhs? Is because the top-up comes at a very, very cheap rate. The premium for the top-up plan is actually very little. Specific to your question on disease-specific plans, I personally am not a big proponent of disease-specific plans because, like for example, COVID. The COVID-specific plans is something which you could purchase today, but once you have the vaccine, the incidence of that happening could probably be reduced considerably, and you would have paid premium for something which, hopefully you won't get infected by. Right? And therefore, a comprehensive plan which covers all kinds of illnesses and hospitalization or all kinds of illnesses is the preference.
All right. Now, this is a tricky one. Okay, I get your point really that I think, Mr. Asthana, what you would recommend is, let's say that if people had taken Corona Rakshak and Corona Kavach covers, in these last 7-8 months to essentially specifically deal with the pandemic, it would make sense if they port to a more comprehensive medical coverage, which a lot of insurance companies, of course, do allow for and provision for customers. Now, let me ask you a bit more of a tricky question, and that's about making claims. Unfortunately, with all the hospitalizations that have happened, and we've seen these long medical bills that have, been thrown at us. How is the whole claim process? Has the thing been shifted digital? Because obviously this is not a time where we can really go to insurance offices, meet with our liaison officer face to face, so on and so forth. So how easy is it to make a claim? What has Liberty done to sort of make the whole process swift and easy for the customer?
Yeah, over the years, the process of claims in health insurance, Bobina, has actually become very simple and pretty straightforward. Most hospitals actually have a insurance desk which liaises with the insurance company, either through its TPay or its own in-house claims assessment team to get the pre-approval for the expenses that are expected. And most insurance companies today have a 24/7 health claims assistance desk which can be contacted, and the response times are usually in hours. So clearly the admission process is simple. Similarly, at the time of discharge, I think the as long as the discharge documents, which are pretty clearly mandated by insurance companies and are very well known to all hospitals, are taken care of. The discharge procedure is also pretty simple. So I think as a consumer, I would urge all consumers and all customers of health insurance not to get too concerned and worried about the complications of claims. It is something which the insurance companies and the hospitals have worked on over the last number of years. And specifically during the pandemic period, when there was a complete lockdown and actually even the courier services and the postal services were not working, claims were being settled actually faster than earlier on the back of digital assets which had been invested in the past. And the specific concern and the attention that had been paid to this by both the hospitals and the insurance companies. So the claims process in health insurance is not complicated, as it is made out to be. And I would urge all consumers to trust their insurance companies and the hospitals which they go to make sure that their claims are settled quickly, efficiently, and as per the health cover that is available.
Mr. Asthana, I really appreciate you taking out time today for the Money Show's viewers and, sort of giving them the A to Z that they need to know about getting a health insurance for themselves, for their family members. Thank you so much for joining in. All right. Well, that was, of course, Liberty General Insurance's whole-time director and CEO, Roopam Asthana. For now, we'll take a very short break on the show. Don't go anywhere.